The Skyship Adventure. In the floating kingdom of Aetheris, the skies stretched endlessly above, filled with soft clouds and shimmering stars. It was a place where magic was woven into the very fabric of the air, and adventure beckoned on every horizon. The people of Aetheris had long relied on the Skyship, a magnificent vessel that could soar through the skies, defying gravity and the laws of nature. On the morning that marked the beginning of their greatest journey yet, the crew gathered at the edge of the floating city. The air was alive with anticipation. They had been preparing for months, gathering supplies and planning their route. Today, they would embark on a quest to uncover the legendary treasure hidden beyond the known skies, a treasure that had eluded adventurers for centuries. Lila, the captain of the Skyship, stood at the helm, her eyes fixed on the distant horizon. She was a skilled pilot, known for her ability to navigate even the most treacherous skies. Her dark hair fluttered in the wind as she adjusted the ship's controls. "This is it," Lila murmured to herself, a sense of excitement and responsibility stirring in her chest. She had always dreamed of this moment, but now that it was here, it felt surreal. The treasure they sought was not just gold or jewels. It was said to hold the power to change the course of history itself. Kai, the navigator, stood beside her, his eyes scanning the map in his hands. "I've charted the course," he said, his voice calm and measured. "We'll be sailing through uncharted skies. No one's ever made it this far." Kai was an expert in reading the stars and understanding the mystical patterns of the winds. His calm demeanor and sharp mind made him the perfect partner for Lila. They had worked together for years, and their bond was unshakable. Behind them, Arlo, the warrior, was sharpening his sword. He was a tall, muscular figure with a fierce presence. His strength and combat skills were unmatched, and he was prepared for anything that might come their way. Arlo had always been ready for battle, but this journey promised more than just physical challenges. Naira, the inventor, stood off to the side, adjusting the gears and machinery of the Skyship. Her goggles gleamed in the sunlight as she tightened bolts and checked the ship's systems. Naira was the genius behind the Skyship's remarkable technology. Without her innovations, the ship would never have been able to navigate the sky with such precision. "I've made a few upgrades," Naira said, tapping a few buttons on a control panel. "The engines are more powerful now. We should have no problem keeping up with the winds." Lila smiled. "Great work, Naira. We'll need all the speed we can get if we're to make it past the storms ahead." With everything in place, the crew boarded the Skyship, ready to set sail. As they lifted off from the floating city, the people of Aetheris cheered, wishing them good fortune. The ship soared into the sky, and the adventure began. The Skyship cut through the air, its sleek hull gleaming in the sunlight. For hours, the crew sailed through peaceful skies, the wind gentle and the stars clear. But as they ventured farther from the kingdom, the weather began to change. The air grew thick with mist, and the once clear sky became clouded and turbulent. The ship rocked gently at first, but the winds soon picked up, howling through the rigging. Dark clouds swirled in the distance, and the temperature dropped. "We're entering a storm," Kai said, his eyes narrowed as he scanned the sky. "This doesn't look like any ordinary storm." Lila gripped the wheel tightly. "We've faced storms before," she said, her voice steady. "We can handle this." But as the Skyship sailed deeper into the storm, the crew began to feel an ominous presence. The winds grew fiercer, and strange shadows flickered at the edges of the clouds. Arlo's hand instinctively went to his sword. "Something's not right," Arlo muttered, his eyes scanning the sky. "This isn't a natural storm." Naira's fingers flew over the control panel as she worked to stabilize the ship. "I'm not sure what's causing it, but I'm having trouble getting the engines to respond. The systems are overloaded." The storm intensified, and the ship was tossed about like a leaf in the wind. The crew struggled to keep the ship steady, but the forces at play were overwhelming. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck the ship, sending a shockwave through the hull. The skyship lurched violently, and the crew was thrown to the floor. Lila fought to regain control, her hands numb from the force of the storm. "We're losing altitude," Naira shouted. "We need to regain control, or we'll crash." Lila's heart raced as she fought the ship's controls. "Kai, help me with the navigation. Arlo, get to the engines." Kai's voice was calm but urgent. "I'm trying to guide us through, but these winds are too strong. We might have to change course." Arlo sprinted to the back of the ship, his massive frame working quickly to stabilize the engines. Naira joined him, and together they worked to repair the damage caused by the lightning strike. But the storm wasn't done with them yet. From the depths of the clouds, a figure emerged. It was a towering creature made entirely of mist and shadows, its glowing eyes fixed on the skyship. "I am the Stormkeeper," the creature boomed, its voice like thunder. "You dare to sail through my domain? I shall send you into the depths of the abyss." Lila's heart raced. She had heard of the Stormkeeper before, an ancient spirit that controlled the fiercest storms in the skies. "We don't want to fight," she called out, her voice steady despite the fear building inside her. "We're just passing through. We seek the treasure of the Sky Kingdom." The Stormkeeper's laugh echoed through the storm. "The treasure you seek is not for the weak-hearted. If you wish to continue, you must first prove your worth. Pass my trial, and I will allow you to proceed." The creature raised a hand, and the storm calmed for a moment. The ship steadied in midair, but the crew could feel the tension in the air. "Accept my trial," the Stormkeeper said, its voice booming, "and you may continue your journey." Lila nodded, her gaze unwavering. "We accept your trial." With that, the Stormkeeper vanished into the storm, and the crew found themselves facing their first true challenge on their journey. The skyship sailed deeper into the storm, the crew preparing for whatever challenge the Stormkeeper had in store for them. The winds howled once again, and the ship was tossed in every direction. The crew struggled to keep their balance as the storm seemed to come alive around them. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light illuminated the sky, and the crew found themselves standing on a platform high above the clouds. The air was still, and a strange calm settled over them. The Stormkeeper's voice echoed in their minds. "Welcome to the trial of the sky. To pass, you must navigate through the winds of destiny. Only those who can overcome their own fears and doubts will make it through." A powerful gust of wind swept through the platform, knocking the crew off balance. Lila gripped the edge of the platform, her heart pounding. "What do we need to do?" she shouted. "The winds of destiny test your resolve," the Stormkeeper's voice said. "You must choose the path that leads you to the other side. But beware, each path is a reflection of your deepest fears. If you falter, you will fall." The crew looked around, trying to find the path forward, but all they could see were swirling winds and dark clouds. Each member of the crew felt a sense of dread rising within them, but they knew they had to keep going. "We can do this," Lila said, her voice firm. "We face our fears together." The first gust of wind lifted them off the platform, and the crew found themselves standing at the edge of a dark chasm. The wind howled around them, and they could hear whispers in the air, voices calling to them from below. Each crew member saw something different. For Lila, the chasm represented her fear of failure, of losing the crew and the skyship. For Kai, it was the fear of losing his way, of being lost in the vastness of the sky. Arlo faced his own fear of helplessness, of being unable to protect his friends. And for Naira, it was the fear of her inventions failing, leaving her powerless. But as they looked at each other, they realized something important. They weren't alone. They had each other, and together they could overcome anything. "Let's face this together," Lila said, reaching out a hand to each of them. One by one, the crew joined hands, and as they did, the winds calmed. The chasm began to fade, and the path forward appeared. The trial was far from. As the crew sailed further into the sky, the winds gradually softened and the clouds parted. The once turbulent storm had finally receded, leaving behind a calm, almost eerie silence. The crew stood at the edge of the skyship, taking in the view. Below them stretched endless skies, dotted with floating islands and the occasional star that shone through the faint mist. The crew had passed the trial of the winds of destiny, but they knew this was only the beginning. The path ahead would be fraught with dangers far beyond anything they had encountered before. The treasure they sought was still a distant dream, hidden somewhere beyond the known skies. But with the storm behind them, they could finally breathe a little easier. Lila stood at the helm of the skyship, her hands resting lightly on the wheel. The ship sailed smoothly through the sky, its engines humming softly. She couldn't shake the feeling that something more awaited them, something far greater than the treasure they had set out to find. "I've never seen skies like this before," Kai said, his voice filled with awe. He was studying the stars, tracing their patterns on his map. "These stars, they're different, almost like they're guiding us." Lila raised an eyebrow. "Guiding us? How?" Kai pointed to the sky. "Look at the constellations. They're aligned in a way that's not natural. It's like they're forming a map, pointing to something." Naira joined them at the front of the ship, her goggles reflecting the starlight. "That's impossible," she said, frowning. "The stars don't work like that." But as she looked up, even Naira couldn't deny the strange pattern forming in the sky. The stars were shifting, slowly but surely, aligning themselves into a glowing path that seemed to stretch across the horizon. It was as if the universe itself was guiding them. "We need to follow it," Lila said, her voice resolute. "This could be the key to finding the treasure." With a new sense of purpose, the crew steered the skyship towards the glowing trail in the sky. As they sailed forward, the stars grew brighter and the path became clearer. The further they traveled, the more the air around them seemed to hum with energy. It was as though they were nearing something immense, something powerful. As the skyship sailed through the sky, they encountered a series of floating islands, each one more breathtaking than the last. Some were covered in thick forests, while others were barren, with jagged cliffs and towering spires. The islands seemed to defy the laws of gravity, floating serenely in the sky, surrounded by mist. "This is incredible," Arlo said, his eyes wide as he looked out over the side of the ship. "I've never seen anything like this before." The crew marveled at the floating islands, their curiosity piqued. Each island seemed to have its own unique characteristics, and some appeared to be inhabited. Lila knew that they couldn't ignore these islands, for they might hold clues to the treasure's location. They decided to explore the nearest island, a lush, green land that seemed to hum with energy. As they landed the skyship on the island's edge, they were greeted by an unexpected sight. Small, glowing creatures darted through the trees, their bodies flickering like fireflies. "What are those?" Naira asked, her voice full of wonder. "They're called etherlings," Kai said, recalling an old legend. "They're believed to be guardians of the sky, creatures of pure energy. They're said to help those who are worthy, but they can be mischievous." The crew stepped cautiously onto the island, their eyes scanning the surroundings. The etherlings flew around them, their delicate wings creating soft, melodic sounds. As the creatures circled the crew, they felt an overwhelming sense of calm, as if the island itself was watching over them. "We need to find something that will point us in the right direction," Lila said, her voice calm but determined. "Let's explore the island and see if we can find any clues." The crew ventured deeper into the island, following a winding path that led them through dense forests and over sparkling streams. The air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers, and the sound of birdsong filled the air. It was a peaceful, almost magical place, but they knew they couldn't let their guard down. After hours of searching, They came upon an ancient stone structure nestled at the base of a towering tree. The structure was covered in vines and moss, but it appeared to be some kind of temple, its walls adorned with intricate carvings. "Do you think this could be a clue?" Arlo asked, examining the stone walls. "It looks ancient." Kai stepped closer to the carvings, his fingers tracing the symbols etched into the stone. "These are the markings of the Sky Kingdom," he said, his voice filled with awe. "They tell the story of the first skyship, the one that carried the treasure. This is where the path begins." Lila's heart raced as she realized what this meant. "The treasure, it's closer than we thought." The crew spent the next few hours carefully studying the carvings, deciphering the ancient language that told the story of the skyship's voyage. The markings depicted a great battle between the Sky Kingdom and the forces of darkness, with the treasure being hidden away to protect it from evil. The final part of the story, however, was incomplete. "This doesn't make sense," Naira said, examining the last carving. "It's like they intentionally left something out." Lila nodded. "We need to find the missing piece. If we can't figure it out, we won't know where to go next." Just as the crew was about to leave the temple, a dark shadow loomed over the island. The etherlings scattered into the trees, their glowing bodies flickering with fear. The air grew thick with a sense of dread, and the once pleasant sounds of the island fell silent. A figure emerged from the shadows, tall, cloaked in darkness, with glowing red eyes. The creature's presence sent chills down the crew's spines. "You shouldn't have come here," the figure said, its voice cold and menacing. "This island is sacred. No one is allowed to uncover the secrets hidden here." Lila stepped forward, her hand on her sword. "Who are you?" she demanded. "I am the Shadow Lord," the figure replied, its voice dripping with malice. "And I am the guardian of the Sky Kingdom's greatest secret. You've meddled with things you don't understand, and now you will pay the price." The Shadow Lord raised his hand, and the air around them thickened, crackling with dark energy. The crew felt a powerful force push against them, forcing them to their knees. "We won't let you stop us," Lila said, her voice defiant. "We're going to find the treasure, no matter what it takes." The Shadow Lord laughed, a low, rumbling sound. "You think you can defeat me? I am the darkness that has been watching over this world for centuries. You are nothing compared to me." With that, the Shadow Lord unleashed a surge of dark energy, sending the crew tumbling back. The battle for the treasure had truly begun.